I have a ton of guitars. And they're not cheap, generic things. They're collectible, rare, and awesome. And today, I'm gonna answer the most common question I get asked on this channel. Where do you get all these cool guitars? But first, I'm gonna answer the second most common question. Can I have one? No. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. And be sure and stick around to the end and I'll show you some of the best deals that I've gotten over the years on Reverb and eBay and local classifieds. You're going to have to incorporate this into your routine and make it part of your routine. And the first thing you're gonna wanna do is when you're taking your morning, wake up in the morning feeling like, ooh, maybe not. When you're taking your morning, you're going to check first your local classifieds, be it Craigslist or Kijiji or used, whatever it is that's popular in your area. Facebook Marketplace, I find completely unusable, and even though it's where most of the ads are, I can't use it. It sucks so bad. So unless it's a solid gold guitar made by Johann Stauffer himself, I don't really bother with Facebook Marketplace. I find the platform unusable and kind of leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth, makes me want to have a shower. It's just gross. And I haven't been able to successfully use it once, even though that is where a majority of the ads are in my area. Here you can see I have a bunch of bookmarks. I've got Craigslist, I've got used, which is what we use here, and Kijiji, which is eBay classifieds in Canada. And I also have Craigslist saved in a bunch of other cities where I have friends and acquaintances or where I visit regularly, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, etc. Because you never know what you're going to find, and sometimes you can just find something for someone else, which I often do. If I'm not going to buy something myself, but I scope out a good deal, I send it to a friend who I know who has an interest. And if you see a good deal, don't fuck around. Don't say, is this still available? When can I come see it? You say, I can come at your convenience, I want to buy this. If you're going to negotiate on price, you do that in person, and you schedule the first appointment. You get first in line. After that's all done, you're going to move on to Reverb. I use a US address in Reverb even though I'm from Canada, because most US sellers don't ship internationally unless you ask them really, really nicely. They're just not willing. It's not worth it to them to fill out one form to ship internationally. And so you're going to need to search with the US address. I start with electric guitars, and you'll see there's 195,000 plus listings here, but I'm not interested in all the listings. That's a waste of your time. You're going to go to custom. You're going to choose what year date you want. I choose a maximum of 1970 usually. And then, look, we're down to 8,000 listings, which also sounds intimidating, but because you're doing this every day, if not multiple times a day, there's only going to be a dozen, maybe 2 dozen listings you haven't already seen, and you'll run into something that you recognize from the previous day, and you know you've seen everything for that day. And so, yeah, there's tons of cool stuff on here. And after you get used to seeing prices, you'll know that, nope, that's no good. This is a decent price on this Silvertone, sort of. Those are good pickups, at least. That Royce Mechlap steel, fine deal, but you can get one cheaper. Yeah, really cool Italian guitar here. Again, way too much money. And you will recognize this. This Hofner is super cool, but you know, it's overpriced. They're almost all overpriced, so you can just scroll right past them. And then you'll be done pretty quickly. Move on to acoustics. Acoustics, we've got 83,000, but we're going to filter to 1950. That's what I do. And then we are down to 1,900 listings. And there's only going to be 6 to 10 that I haven't already seen in the previous day. Here's somebody flipping. I just saw this on Instagram. This guy just bought this yesterday. Now he's flipping it. Sigh. This is super cool, this Italian guitar here, and a good price. It's got scalloped frets and a nice maple body. I will send that to my friend Andrew in Colorado because he's into Italian guitars. Keep going, you see insane prices, Baxadale, give me a break. And this Martin Brazilian Rosewood is beautiful. People don't pay much for nylon string Martins. It's really good deals. This is actually too much money in the current market. Ooh, this 18-inch Style O, incredible. I think it might have been refinished though, because these were usually black unless it was custom ordered. That price seems okay, except for the refin and different tuners. It's probably had some bad work, sadly. But anyway, that's it. I've seen them all already. There's only a few new listings today. Reverb is a tricky spot to find deals because typically the people on there are familiar with the guitar market or the musical instrument market, and typically the buyers on there are fairly informed as well, so good deals go really quickly. So when you see one, once again, jump on it. I also will do bass guitars up to 1970, 1975, and folk instruments up to 1950. A lot of really cool guitars will be listed as folk instruments if they're old enough, and so it's important to keep an eye on those. Now we're going to move on to eBay. eBay is actually a great place to still find deals because eBay has fallen off quite a bit in recent years, and sellers who find instruments who don't really know much about them might mislist them there, or they might be in the wrong category, and they might get overlooked by people who are searching. So you can find deals if you get pretty thorough on eBay. We're going to start out with the basics though. So typically when I go on eBay, the first thing I search is vintage guitar. You don't have to write out the whole word. You can write VRG if you want, but what I meant was VTG. And of course you're always going to want to list it by newly listed because you're looking at it every day or a couple times a day. And so you're going to scroll through, screw these stupid pics, and you'll see the new stuff. Let's see, category, all categories. Let's go to musical instruments. Still going to see all these dumb pics. No one gives a shit about your pics. Ugh, so frustrating when somebody like that lists 1,000 things. Sheet music here too. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. Most days you aren't going to be fucked with all that. You get to a few actual guitars here. Again, it's going to be pretty hard to find good deals or anything you're interested in, so I like to then go for antique guitars. Again, misspell it, go ahead. Sort, newly listed, we're good. Again, it's a dud day. This Flipper has 1,000 listings. It's really muddying things up. This Gibson tenor, I've already got a watch on. I've seen it already. Cromwell, this is cool. These were made by Gibson. This looks like a kind of okay deal, but it's got some cracks and it's obviously missing some parts. This would be really cool to put a vintage Charlie Christian pickup into, which I have upstairs. The next most important thing you're gonna want is to have an extensive watch list. See that Cromwell's in my watch list. Gretsch is not a very good price. I don't know why this lap steel's in here. Yeah, anytime you see something good, put it in your watch list. After it's in your watch list, you have to make sure you go back and check your watch list every day. And then I set an alarm for 2 minutes before the auction's going to end. I never bid before the end of an auction because that's just letting other bidders know you're there and, just driving up the price. Bid in the last 3 to 5 seconds only. Have your max bid in mind and do it. A lot of the time, you keep something in your watch list, the price will drop over time, so you just keep watching, and once it's at a price you like, just grab it. This Vega is an incredible price, and they take offers. Beautiful, beautiful guitar. The saddest thing is when you forget to look at your watch list, look at my ended listings. You're going to see a lot of deals in here that I didn't bid on. This is a super cool rare Hofner, but it's got a bent neck and the electronics aren't working. I want it though. I was hoping to get a better deal out of them. This high-low is a great deal. Slide guitars are really easy repair jobs because there's no fretwork. Somebody got an incredible deal, $255. You can easily sell that for $1,200 to $1,500 in playing condition. Another one here, my buddy Dylan was selling this guitar. It only went for $150. That's a Brazilian rosewood parlor from the early 1900s. I forgot to bid on that. There's some really, it's sad going through the missed listings because sometimes the deals you missed out on are painful. So maybe don't look there. Next, there's something a lot of people don't know about is you can search by category. I like to go to the antiques category, find musical instruments, see all, and then of course sort by newly listed. And you can narrow it down by searching for guitar within this category, if that's what you're looking for, or you can just look for all sorts of cool stuff. But you're not going to see a lot in here, but they're going to be well hidden from other people who are only searching the musical instruments category. Some David Jacques listings. He's an incredible collector here in Canada, and he usually has a lot of really cool old instruments for sale, and he demos them really well. He's a really good player. How Orme Mandolinetto, $2,000. You can get a Brazilian rosewood mandolinetto like this that may not be How Orme brand for a couple $100, $300. Anyway, you get the gist on this. If you want to get more thorough with eBay, I suggest going through, like I said, sellers will mislist things, or you can go by decade. I will go guitar 1860, and none of those are 1860. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Look at that. Wow. $2,600. It's not insane. It's gorgeous. You need attribution to get real value out of these old guitars. But yeah, like I said, you go through the decades, 1870, 1880, 1890, you keep going, and you'll see stuff that you might not see if you wrote vintage or antique, because that might not be included in the description, or the title, I should say. And you might see a bunch of cool old photos too. Sometimes you see instruments you recognize in these old photos, and that's pretty exciting. Most of the time they're pretty hard to identify though. Last detail about eBay that I forgot to mention is you're gonna wanna set up a watch list of searches. Wait, hang on. Saved searches is what I'm talking about here. So you go to search, and you go to see all saved searches, and then it's going to have listings for you. Maybell, anything good here? Cool. Ooh, that matches my, actually that's a different color green. But yeah, sometimes you'll miss some listings. Holy shit, Slingerland Songster, is this a Spanish? No, it's a lap steel. That's a good deal though. Put that in my watch list, baby. And yeah, so fill that up with all of the stuff that is more specific. Obviously, you're not going to put vintage or antique guitar in your watch list because it's so generic you'll get 1,000 listings. But if there are specific parts you're looking for or specific rare guitars, Hofner Colorama, for example, 19th century guitar I have in here. That must be a David Jacques. And Rickenbacker Spanish. Ooh, that's an exciting category when one of those pops up. Anyway, I think that's all for eBay. The little creative sleuthing you can find auction houses and more obscure things where you will find listings that aren't as universally available to people. And I'm not going to blow up anybody's spot. I know, for example, where I am, there's a company called Max Sold, and a lot of companies across the country will ship. But sometimes you're paying a brokerage fee and then you're paying somebody to pack it and ship it, and it gets kind of expensive. So unless you're getting a no-brainer of a deal, you might end up losing out. But sleuth around. I'm not going to tell you which auction places. There's Shop Goodwill as well, but I find enough people know about that you actually pay more than you would on eBay on Shop Goodwill. And there's also like Instagram accounts that blow up the sweet deals. So I don't bother. I've put a bunch of stuff in my watch list there in the past, and it always goes above retail, honestly, on most guitars. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have gotten a lot of deals over the years, and now I'm going to share a few with you right now. Check it out. On eBay, I also search with the US address, but sometimes I switch back to my Canadian address and look for Canadian-only listings, and that's where I found this guitar. It needed a new bridge. I have a full-length video out about this guitar where I repair a bunch of back cracks, and I make it a new bridge, and I probably do some other stuff. But anyway, this Brazilian rosewood Italian guitar from around 1920-ish, I picked up for, I think, $175, which is a great deal. I'd say it's easily a $1,000, $1,200 guitar, US. Instruments behind me just happen to be here. They weren't specifically for this video, but a couple of them apply to the sweet deals category. This R.A. Sanders banjo is from circa 1860 England, and I'm going to do a restoration video on this in the near future. Just don't want to kill my algorithm with banjo content, if you know what I'm talking about. At any rate, crazily enough, this banjo was about a 10-minute drive from here, but the seller had it listed only to US buyers. So I found it searching eBay with the US address, but it turned out to be in my town, and it's pretty obscure. Minstrel banjos, early banjos, they're pretty obscure still, not a lot of people looking for them, and this wasn't well listed, I don't think. I'll pull up the listing here. And yeah, bizarrely, he was down the road, and I got this for, I think, like around the same amount as that Brazilian rosewood, like maybe $150, $175 US. And the guy said just bring cash, but I had already paid on eBay and paid all the taxes and all of that because I was afraid he would cancel the sale because I got such a good deal on it. Another interesting detail about this banjo is after I started YouTube, a fellow YouTuber from Victoria saw one of my videos, noticed I mentioned somebody coming over from Vancouver to the island, and he said, I'm in Victoria. I do machine work. If you ever need anything, let me know. And I was like, well, actually, I sent one of these old brass tuners to somebody in the States, and then he ghosted me. I wanted him to reproduce some tuners for me, and he just disappeared and never replied to my DMs after that. It's not like he was trying to steal it, but obviously he flaked out big time. And the guy was like, oh, what kind of banjo? And I was like, actually, it's this one. It's this R.A. Sanders banjo from circa 1860 England. And he said, shut the f*** up. He was literally in the process of drawing out from another YouTuber, Clifton Hicks. He has one of these that's less complete. And this guy in town, Stork Banjos, Mark, was in the process of reproducing one from pictures and video. And that very same day that he saw my video on YouTube, he came over and borrowed this and made a detailed blueprint drawing of it, which is really awesome. And I've got a copy of it upstairs. And of course, that will be featured in the restoration video when I finally get to this. So a lot of really cool details, all relating back to my home city here in Victoria. A lot of coincidences. So kind of cool. Another sick deal behind me is this. I done a couple shorts of this guitar so far. This is absolutely incredible. This is a bucket list guitar of mine. It's a Maybell by Slingerland, the recording master. It's from 1931. We got the Grover double tab tuners and just the most audacious use of pearloid. The fact that they got around the heel in all of this is really impressive. This was listed on Reverb for around $3,000 for quite a while. And then one day I got a notification price drop to $750, and I just snagged it. I grabbed it real quick. You better believe it. The seller said there were no loose braces. That was false. And the X brace itself is cracked, which is brutal. It's going to be a brutal repair. I do not want to pull the back or front of this guitar because celluloid shrinks. And if I pull the top off, I have a feeling it's going to not implode, but like shrink into a point where I won't be able to get it back together smoothly. So this is going to be a very interesting restoration video that I'm also going to do this year, in the new year. So keep an eye out for that. It's just incredible. It's going to need a neck reset, so I'm going to have to pull off a lot of these pearloid inlays. They're not inlays, they're overlays. And I'm going to have to do a lot about the bridge and so much more. The X brace is going to be the hardest project. It's also super warped from this piece shrinking. Anyway, let me pull up a couple more deals I got and show you. Here is an incredibly rare Regal tenor, the only one I've ever seen, and I've been looking for Regal tenors for 10 plus years now and purchased 4, including another semi-rare one that I've seen a few of, but this is unique, and I've done a restoration video of this one fairly recently. Check that out. But anyway, yeah, I got it for $160 plus $100 shipping, but worth it. Here's another sweet deal I got. This is a Craftsman lap steel. These are cool and old. This must be 1940s or so. This is the same pickup as a Jimmy Reed Thin Twin, but without a decorative cap, so you actually get a much clearer tone. This is a better pickup than the deluxe version because there's nothing in the way of the magnet, the giant Alnico magnet. This I have converted to a Spanish guitar, which I have a tendency to do. And of course, there is a video for this one as well. So check that out. I paid $225 for this plus shipping. And I had one in my watch list on Reverb that's around $500 for the last several years. No one's biting. I mentioned earlier that high-low deal that I missed out on eBay. Here's one on Reverb that I didn't miss out on. It's all Koa, paid $350. Again, you see there's an $1,850 price drop on this. It did need a lot of work. I had to fix a lot of cracks, etc. But once that was all done, I did resell this one. And I sold it for $1,400. So that was a really good return. I did put a lot of work into it and made it a lot nicer and made it playable, but nonetheless didn't have to do any fretwork or a neck reset like I usually have to do on all these projects. So actually profitable. Rare for me. That's going to do it for this video. It's a bit of a different format than my normal repair videos, but every now and again I have something I want to talk about that doesn't involve me doing an entire week or two of work at the same time. And so for that, it's a relief for me, and it allows me to get out a video more frequently than the repair videos, because a lot of the projects that you're seeing here I've worked on took a long time, the video takes a long time, and then I get maybe $40 ad revenue. So, you want to help out the channel, subscribe. Absolutely free. You can become a YouTube channel member for $2 a month, and I put up extra content there. Or you can join my Patreon, where I have even more exclusive content, and all of the long form videos get uploaded there without ads. And you can chat. We have like cute little chats about the videos and commentaries and stuff that's not as convoluted as the YouTube commentary section. Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody, and let me see if I can get AI to Happy New Year! Yeah, I'm a master now of AI. We're the best! Sick. Yeah, Thank you to Patreon patrons. Thank you to members. Thank you to everyone who's watched, subscribed, liked, shared. Hit the notification bell if you want. It will tell you every time I post, which is almost daily. I come out with a short. I try to, just to keep engaging the algorithm, keep the grind going, even though it's very fickle regardless. Again, thank you. Hope to see you soon.
That I love, but soon we will join in realms up above.